Oh, do we have a marquee matchup for you Wednesday as Arizona heads to Storrs, Connecticut to take on the UCONN Huskies and Danny Hurley. It's number 3 in the country versus number 4 in the country, and arguably the number 1 spot in the nation is on the line.
Welcome on in, guys, to the AZ Wildcats podcast, live from Studio K, presented by our friends over at Circle K. I am Damon Fairall. He is the great Kevin Thomas, and we are live from PHNX HQ3 here in lovely, beautiful downtown Phoenix, bringing you a preview of Arizona versus UConn, as well as a little bit of Victory Monday feeling from a big W. Arizona Wildcats get the job done over ranked Cincinnati and just kind of the fallout of that. Big 12 power rankings. How high should the Cats be? We're going to get into all of that and more. But first off, I do want to say shout out our good friends over at Branded Bills for presenting this podcast. Branded Bills sponsoring this show. The premium headwear and apparel in the game, local company based out of Mesa, Arizona. And with our promo code of BBPHNX over at brandedbills.com, you can get 15% off your first order. They have the best Arizona Wildcats headwear in the game. So yeah, make sure that you guys get involved in that one. Kevin, how are we doing today?
Feeling good.
You
great.
left me out the hook way too easy on that.
Feeling good, feeling great, Damon.
Way
Arizona
too easy,
takes
man.
on UConn.
Because I would have been like, stop the presses, Kevin Thomas. Hold the horses.
I think ordinarily I would, but I just didn't feel like
it's a Monday morning.
It didn't feel right.
It's a Monday morning.
Yeah.
Let's have some class. Let's have some dignity.
And I'm going to give you a little bit of slack on a Monday.
For sure. How was your weekend?
It was good. Feeling good, feeling great as Jervis voices what I should have probably voiced in the moment. But yeah, shout out to the Arizona Wildcats. I've been saying it for what feels like forever now, but it's just that time of year. What a time to be an Arizona Wildcat. The women's basketball team is rolling. The men's basketball team is rolling. Football is absolutely rolling. Feels very good, Damon. Feels very good. And I'm super pumped for this matchup tomorrow against the UConn Huskies, as Arizona looks to already have the best resume in the country if they're able to get that done. It's a huge matchup with a whole lot on the line. I'm absolutely pumped up about it. But as Pigeon says in the chat, RIP, Arizona Stadium. Should we start there, Damon, talk a little bit about naming rights stuff, and then get into UConn preview and our power rankings a little bit after that?
Yeah, I think so. It's the most pressing matter of the day here from an Arizona standpoint, right? And Arizona does the deed, Kevin. I know it's been in talks for a long time, especially from a football standpoint. We'll get into what this means for basketball here in a second. But Arizona Athletics and Casino del Sol announce a transformative $60 million plus stadium naming rights partnership. This is apparently the largest such agreement in Big 12 conference history, which is, I think, obviously great job by Desiree Reed-Francois, who was brought in to do exactly this, right? Fund for this athletic department. With inflation, every deal that gets signed hypothetically should be towards the top, right? Yeah. But obviously some athletic departments are worth more than others. Arizona making that jump from Arizona Stadium to Casino del Sol Stadium. And yeah, I think it's one that is, it fits within the local landscape, right? Like it's a company that has been involved with Arizona athletics and with Arizona football for a very long time. And it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for an athletic department that, after the budget shortfall and all of that noise, in which a lot of it has been eased, I think, for the most part. And, maybe that's louder in non-Arizona circles than it even is in Arizona circles at this point. But this is going to go a long way. And Arizona Stadium, while always iconic and, has is a name that is synonymous with Arizona football, At the same time, it's so generic that I think that it led to the ability to, move on from it from a fan base perspective. It's also not the storied history that is in the McHale Center versus at Arizona Stadium. And people are, I think, accepting of this change. What say you, Kevin? Are you excited for this opportunity, this financial opportunity that's been brought upon this athletic department?
I would say I'm excited for it. I think I'm more excited that the name is not like an albatross. Like, it actually is kind of a cool name. Casino del Sol Stadium, the Soul is kind of cool. The Soul Bowl also was thrown out there in our Slack today. So at least there's fun nicknames. It's not like the Mortgage Matchup Center where you're calling it the Morgue, and it's just a horrendous scene all around. I'm happy with this, and I'm also happy as long as it benefits the finances of Arizona football and helps Arizona football maintain a competitive consistency within being competitive, right? And I think that is the biggest part of it. Now, what I will say, and this is something you said, is that Arizona Stadium being such a generic name kind of lends itself to you being able to change the name and not really ruffle too many feathers because it's not like connected to anything or whatnot. The McHale Center is. And the McHale Center is hallowed ground. The McHale Center is a special location for not only Arizona college basketball fans, but college basketball fans on the West Coast in general. And when asked about the potential of changing the name of the McHale Center, this is what Arizona Athletic Director Desiree Reed-Francois had to say on the matter.
McHale will always be in the name. Okay, I want to be really clear, but we are looking at every naming opportunity possible. We have the Varsity Village and we have Gates, and like I said, we've got to be really aggressive, and yes, we're exploring other opportunities.
Not everything needs to be explored. Don't rename McHale, or don't mess with the McHale name. I don't want this to be, redacted brand court at the McHale Center or Damon Dog Arena with the McHale court. I don't want that. Nobody wants that. And I feel like our basketball program is at a point where we're not necessarily needing that extra bit of money from soiling the McHale Center name. So I'm all about the changes to Arizona Stadium, but keep it on that side of the athletic area of campus. Don't bring it to the McHale Center. We're good. We're good. Do you feel the same way, Damon?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously McHale Center is iconic, and you can't lose that. So I understand, Arizona has to explore all opportunities, and maybe there's a way in which, it can be, done that will satisfy Arizona fans. But yeah, I kind of lean towards let's keep that one. Let's just keep that one the way that it is in the sake of tradition, because I do think that there are some things in college sports and in tradition and in just the world in general that are worth more than making money, right? And having that kind of, I'm trying to think of the word for it, like the devotion to an arena like we have to McHale Center, it just loses something when it's renamed to, and I remember Craig Morgan wrote an article for this very company, GoPHNX.com, when Arizona State changed their name from Sun Devil Stadium to Mountain America Stadium. And he basically was reiterating the same thing. There are some things that are worth more in life than a couple extra bucks, and the hosting a Super Bowl at that place and having it synonymous with that kind of big event, I think is just it's iconic. And so I agree. You can't lose McHale. But I am happy about the Casino del Sol agreement here in the Soul Bowl and all of that could come with it. I told you, Kevin, Estadio del Sol I think is maybe the move here. Just because the English Spanish switch up is throwing me off a little bit. But also I wanted to answer Pigeon's question in the chat. I believe that what they're saying is that from a total money perspective, it is the biggest, 60 million being bigger than 50 million. From an APY perspective, yes, you're correct. The ASU deal is slightly bigger from that standpoint. But from an overall money perspective, yeah, 60 million more than 50 million. I'm pretty sure that's why they're claiming it like that. But yeah, big move for this athletic department. Big move hopefully they can trickle down and really affect some positive change in this football program at a time where they absolutely deserve it, right? Like this, it's similar to, and I know that people like maybe it doesn't feel like it because the rest of this fan base isn't as juiced as we were back in 2023, but it's a similar feeling to the Jed Fish run in 2023, where it's like now you can show support, you can show investment because the success is happening on the field. So how could you then take that away from them? You know what I mean? Especially when your coach is not one of the higher paid coaches in the conference. Like you have some extra money to spend. So hopefully we see a trickle down here that affects some positive change here, especially in football.
To wrap up our naming rights conversation, can I broach a potentially scary topic?
Sure.
We've seen other teams in this great state, the Freedom State of Arizona, take a team that is on the road to success and divert them away from that road towards failure after renaming their home arena or home stadium. It happened to the Mercury. It's happened to the Suns in the past as well. And should they have waited until after this Big 12 season, David? We're on the brink of a 9-win season. We're on the brink.
No, I mean, that's the one thing I think I said voice to you earlier. It's like, man, like this team is really firing on all cylinders right now. My weird pessimistic Arizona football brain can't escape the fact of like, is this going to somehow butterfly effect change the vibes that are so high right now after back-to-back wins here, or 3 wins in a row actually, but a ranked win against Cincinnati. Man, I certainly hope not. But yeah, that's a thought that crossed my dark, twisted mind for sure, Kevin. And I'm sure other Arizona fans, some of them feel the same way of just like, no. Let's do it after the season. Let's wait. Let's just wait until games are done because things are fine the way that they are. Let's leave it exactly the way that they are right now. Similar to why people are not happy with me saying Anthony Del Orso needs to start.
Yeah. Thank you, Jarvis. But you know, I don't know.
Twisted minds.
It could go the other way. You know, maybe this revitalizes the program and they never lose at home again. I don't know. You could positive spin zone it, right? You could say like the last touchdown being that heroic Quincy Craig reach across the goal line, officially for Arizona Stadium. That I feel like is maybe a good omen in a lot of ways, and it carries good energy over into the new stadium. You know, JR in the chat wants to know about the vaunted Cardinals, and do we even broach that conversation? The vibes are so good in Wildcat land.
What do you even say?
What are you doing, JR?
No, but what do you even say? Like, you gotta find something different here. It sounds like we won't spend too much on this, but Johnny Venerable reported that both Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon are seemingly safe in Cardinals land. So I think that just means that a change at quarterback is coming in the offseason, and we'll see. We'll go from there. Not much else to evaluate until then, I guess. Pretty brutal times, man.
It is brutal.
Pretty brutal times.
Very bleak outlook for the Arizona Cardinals right now. Max,
here's the non-bleak side. The Cardinals, I think, have a top 5 pick right now. So if you keep losing, you will have a chance at a first-round quarterback that should be pretty decent hypothetically.
Now, if they can actually talent evaluate correctly and pick the top quarterback, that is a different question for a
Correct.
different day. Max says, just imagine if we put that $60 million from the stadium naming rights into a will Damon be wearing a sick Brandon Bill poly market bet each day. Might have like $200 million by 2026.
100%, Max. That's a great point. Send that over. Send an email to Desiree Reed Francois, who of course has a public email address. I'm sure she would love to hear that foolproof business plan that you have in place there. But good news for Arizona football, I think in general. Good news for Arizona athletics. And good news for DRF doing exactly what she was tasked with doing, bringing in this big-time money deal. We'll talk a little bit of UConn versus Arizona. Can the Wildcats get another top 5 W under their belts? Just a mere handful of games into the season, Kevin. And should they be number 1 if they get said W? We'll talk about that and more right after the break here on the AZ Wildcats pod.
You know, Damon, rumor has it that the Phoenix Mercury are changing their branding and their logos and their fonts and things like that. And anytime you have a brand that is changing its, what it's been for quite some time, you're going to want to stock up on what is now retro merch. And I don't know if you heard, but Rally House is the go-to spot for all your teams here in the great state, the freedom state of Arizona. If you want to rep your Wildcats, they have 39 pages of Arizona Wildcats merch and memorabilia. It's the go-to spot, go-to shop for all your favorite Arizona team gear with tens of thousands of products to shop from. And if you have not checked out Rally Hats, I'm talking variety. I'm talking everything from the dog collar that you know my dog rocks, to jerseys, to just cool little graphic tees, to they got like cups and coasters in there. Make sure to go check out our friends over at Rally House. Find your local Rally House location and shop their entire product assortment online at www.rallyhouse. Right now in another window while this podcast is going on.
Love it. Love our friends over at Rally House. Got to also talk to you guys about our friends over at Branded Bills. Branded Bills presenting this podcast as they always do. But if you're looking for something to make your gear stand apart from the crowd, you know Branded Bills is the best place to go to for custom headwear and apparel. If you have a small business that you're trying to promote, whether that's, you know, a law firm, a softball team, a charity organization, a run that you're going on, anything, right? A trip to Disneyland, like Branded Bills has you covered. You can get a custom, you know, made headwear and apparel done, custom logos, and that includes snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, and t-shirts over at brandedbills.com. And you all know about the Fine Campus Collection, over 40 partnerships with different universities, but we only care about one, and that's the University of Arizona. They have a limited edition collection over there on campus at the Arizona Bookstore. But they also have been adding a lot of those to their website, I've been noticing, Kevin, over at brandedbills.com. So you can use our promo code BBPHNX. That'll get you 15% off of your first order over at brandedbills.com. BBPHNX, first 15% off your first order. Now, you guys tried to throw me off my game, but luckily I'm a Big J professional, and that's where you let the noise, you let it just start affecting you, and you'll blow it, Kevin. So I gotta just tune it out, filter it out. That's what the greats do.
Yeah. I don't know what my mom is talking about in the chat about lug nuts. I don't know what that means, but we're moving on a Monday. We're moving through this show on a Monday, and Arizona is moving on to play UConn in Connecticut, Storrs, Connecticut. This is one of, dare I say, the biggest games of the college basketball regular non-conference season.
Yep.
You have the number 3 ranked team in the country inviting the number 4 ranked team in the country to come play a game. And this is just the first half of a home and home, because we have UConn coming to town next November. I believe it's November 18th, 2026, that they are coming to Tucson. And this is a massive matchup, right? Danny Hurley's squad has been hot out the gates, 3-0, big win at TD Garden versus BYU and the Boston boy, AJ DeBansa. But it was not without struggle, right? I mean, they dominated large stretches of that game, but BYU punched back, and they punched back real hard. But credit to UConn. I believe that they forfeited the lead at one point in that second half after being up 20 with 7 minutes remaining, only to win the game back. And I think that ordinarily I would get on this podcast and say, well, that makes me confident that Arizona can just go in there and get it done, right? But I think the fight back and the response that they showed in that game against BYU in a non-home setting, I think was really impressive. I really think so. I think that the way that UConn responded was that of a championship caliber team. And we know that they are a championship caliber team because they've won, 2 of the last 4 championships, 2 of the last 3, something like that. They are a great program led by Danny Hurley. It's going to be a big uphill battle. Damon and I were talking about pre-show, what are some of their strengths and weaknesses. That is a graphic that we ordinarily would do. However, UConn, and I mean this as a compliment, is not necessarily strong at any one thing. They're really strong at kind of everything.
Yeah.
Right? They're really solid, really fundamental. They're super physical. They're super tough. They have a ton of experience. They're incredibly well coached. This is an extremely high-level basketball team. This is not like a UCLA where they're top 25, preseason top 10, and we all know the whole time that is a 20 to 25 team in the country waiting, right? Wow, my mom says they even have UA lug nuts on Rally House. So if you want to like,
That's crazy.
yeah, if you want to like take your car and get some U of A lug nuts on there, that's insane. But shout out to Rally House. But yeah, like I was saying, Damon, this is a big uphill battle for Arizona. I think that they can get it done. There's definitely a chance that they can get it done. Arizona is one of the best teams in the country right now. So there's no world where it's like an impossible game for them. But it's definitely going to be a very tough battle for Arizona and Storrs this week. Where are you at with this UConn game before we get really deep into it?
Man, I can't help but think about how difficult the road environment itself is going to be. That's what I keep coming back to because, I saw some people that were, taking offense to, I think it was some UConn fans, maybe an analyst that was saying that the road environment they just think is going to be too tough for Arizona. And there were Arizona fans that were like, oh, yeah. Well, you know what it was? It was the Andy Katz team of the week, as Bill pointed out in the chat, where Purdue fans were mad because they were like getting a win over the number 8 team on the road. Like Drake like moving away from it, getting a win on a neutral site against the number 15 team, Drake pointing at it and being like, yep, that's the one. And there were Arizona fans that were like, it wasn't a neutral site. It was in Los Angeles, 15 miles from UCLA's campus. And yeah, there's something to that. They had a student section there. Like it definitely was UCLA based, but it wasn't the same as it's going to be in Storrs on Wednesday night. There are going to be Arizona fans that travel because it's a big environment and we don't play at UConn very often. And there are fans that are such good fans. They want to see what that environment's like for these cats, right? But at the same time, it's going to be like 97% UConn fans in that building.
It's going to be loud too.
Maybe more. Like it's not going to be close. Whereas Saul Bookman is telling us 60-40 versus UCLA in Los Angeles, right? And it's like, that's a big difference, especially a UCLA 60 versus a UConn 99. That's a huge difference. And that's the thing that gives me pause on this game. And maybe I needed a little bit of pause earlier if you were here at the beginning of this show. But that's what's giving me pause on this game, is that Arizona is going to have to go into UConn and beat UConn there and best them. Right. And it's a lot different than being in Vegas against Florida. It's a lot different than being in Southern California against UCLA. That's the part that I think is going to be the most difficult for Arizona in this one.
I'm currently looking up what is UConn's home record under Danny Hurley. I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna find that for us. But I'm interested in that because I know that Duke basketball just posted the John Shire home record the other day, of which he is 50-3. So far since taking over there. Hey, one of those wins is a Caleb Love Arizona team. And that makes me very happy. But no, I'm all about what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down, Damon. This road environment is going to be very, very tough. And it is going to play an effect on this game. UConn's going to be completely comfortable in it, completely used to it. Arizona, who is leaning on a lot of freshmen.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, as quiet as it's kept, you're going to need a lot more from Koa Peat in this game against UConn than you got from Koa Peat in that game against UCLA. And I'm not saying he had a necessarily like bad game. I'm not trying to be too hard on him. That is the first time he's ever played against Mick Cronin, and those teams are known to get you out of your game and make you look worse than you really are. But I think this is a game where you're going to need Koa Peat to, I'm not saying come out and drop 30 like he did against Florida, but at least be a true impact on the outcome of it in a positive way. I think that Arizona has a chance in this game, but this is, as JR says in the chat, 87-16 with an 84.5 win percentage at home. Honestly, a little. I'm not trying to like say it's bad, but I'm saying it's a couple more losses than I would have even thought.
84.5 is not like that crazy.
I would have thought it'd been like I wouldn't know how many numbers, but like how many games to pick from. But I would have assumed he has like maybe 10 losses at home. But yeah, that's interesting. Not as I guess direct of a correlation as I thought between UConn and being at home and winning. Arizona can get this done. How can Arizona get this done, Damon? It's going to take extremely high-level execution for the entirety of the game. As JR says, so I'm saying that we have a chance. Yes, I am saying we have a chance because Arizona has a veteran point guard by the name of Jaden Bradley. And we know how big senior point guard leadership can be in road environments. Now, I'm saying Koa Peat has to step up, and he does have to step up in this game, but he is ultimately a freshman. And I think as we've learned from that UCLA game, when things get mucked up, when things get down in the mud, who are you going to rely on? Your upperclassmen. You need Krivas in this one. You need Awaka in this one. You need Del Orso in this one. And you definitely need Jaden Bradley in this one. Because UConn's guards are really impressive. I mean, that solo ball cat. Have you seen his physique this year, Damon?
I have not.
Look up solo ball on our photo provider that I also use, not the other one that you have a password for. But his physique.
No free ads, huh?
No free ads. Especially with the quality of some of these photos that they get us. But the physique of solo ball, I'm not bringing that up because he just looks nice. He is a strong too. He is an incredibly strong guard on and off the ball. And I think UConn's defensive toughness is really going to show through in this matchup. Arizona has to take care of the ball in this one better than they have in some games past. Yeah, that's a hell of a couple photos there of solo ball. Sam Albert's also finding some photos of solo ball in the chat. So I'm all about Arizona taking care of the ball in this one, being ultra physical on both sides of the glass, and really trying to play Arizona basketball the way that we talked about in the second half against UCLA, where there were pockets where Arizona would, UCLA can do whatever they want on there and when they have the ball. But when we have the ball, we're trying to score in transition, keep the ball moving, high number of assists, really play physical, wear the other team down. It's kind of two teams that want to, in a lot of ways, do the same thing. They don't have the exact same identity, but they want to play extremely fundamentally sound. They want to play extremely strong on the ball, and they want to rebound it really, really well. And you know a Danny Hurley team's never going to give up.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a really uphill battle for Arizona.
Or they'll be killed if they do, because Danny Hurley doesn't accept any of that nonsense. But I do think we have a first addition to our Hall of Names for the season, Kevin.
Yeah.
Solo ball.
Solo ball.
I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. That's
gotta be if that roughly translates to ISO. ISO him. Like literally
it does. Solo ball. Wow.
Get out of the way.
Solo this ball.
Literally.
Wow, that's crazy.
His name translates to get out of my way. I'm going isolation to the bucket.
JR with a very important distinction. His name is actually Solomon. He's not first ballot if your real name is Solomon, is it?
I mean,
you got to be second ballot Hall of Namer if your real name is
and Jizzle James wasn't his real name either, brother.
Edgerrin James Jr., right?
Yeah, we put him on the Hall of Names.
Yeah,
is the criteria switched up in year 2 from year 1?
No.
Because I thought that this Hall of Names had some damn consistency about it, Kevin. Because you're changing your criteria right now, and it's making me sick.
Well, sorry about it, man. I'm sorry about it. We're not actually changing it, but I thought about changing it. Anyway, Damon. Back
Kobe Bryant Jr.
Back to this UConn-Arizona game. In your opinion, Damon, I mean, we do have some people in the chat saying that the key to this game is the bigs, and I think so. I think so as well, especially with the quality of bigs that UConn is bringing to the table in this one. What do you want from Krivas and Awaka in this game, Damon?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the bigs expands to Koa Peat as well as a part of your previous point about what you need from Koa Peat in this one. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting matchup here because I mean you look at UConn center, he's their leading scorer on the season, 20 points, 9.3 rebounds, 74% field goal percentage. That's a handful. Right? Like you're going to need to continue to win the rebounding battle. I think that that's so important for Arizona. Like if you looked at last season, I almost guarantee that every game that they won the rebounding battle that they were coming out on top of.
Probably. Yeah.
Like and then you get against Duke, a team that can match your athleticism, match your size, and actually do it at a higher level. And that's how you lose the rebounding battle because they have Cooper Flagg and Kaman Malawach, who are both top 10 picks in the NBA draft. Who are, 6'8" and above, right? Like that was what kind of, I think, is a lot of the crux of a Tommy Lloyd team is winning that rebounding battle. You won it against Florida, and it felt like on the eye test you were winning it as well. Gotta continue to do that, in my opinion. And yeah, I think the Koa Peat point from you is, in my opinion, I think that's the biggest player key in this side of this one is you need him to show up. And not that I don't expect him to, but obviously after the last game, like it's not a given that Koa Peat's just going to show up and be a superstar like we saw against Florida on night one every single night. But if Koa Peat gives you between 20 and 30 points, I think you're going to be in decent shape to potentially come out on top of this one. And I think that's kind of what you're going to need from him. I think he's going to need to provide that scoring output because I look at the rest of the team and I don't necessarily think that, everyone's going to be just able to, penetrate to get to the lane against these UConn defenders. I think it's going to be a tough game from a half-court offense perspective. And when all else fails in the half-court, find Koa Peat, in my opinion. That's the best way for Arizona to be successful in half-court all season long, I think.
I love that Koa Peat point. I'm not going to rehash it because we've already talked about it. I'm going to move on to another big that I think really needs to dominate their matchup in this one. Mo Krivas, my boy, my guy, Mo Krivas, my favorite player on this year's team. Damon knows it. The chat knows it. Saul's guy, but he's really my guy. He's my favorite player, Matthias Krivas. All right, I'm pumping him up, Damon, because he has to dominate Terrace Reed Jr. in this matchup. The senior.
Dominate.
6'11" from St. Louis, Missouri.
Soft. So we know he's soft.
All right. That was... What are you, Coach K, bro? What was that all about? Talking to Jason Tatum about, I know why I had my doubts about you, you soft St. Louis kid. That was a crazy thing to say to Jason Tatum, who is...
soft.
Come on, man. Anyway, point being, Terrace Reed Jr., the Michigan transfer from 2 years ago now, has been really, really good this year. I'll go ahead and say 20 points in all 3 games. He had 19 in the second game, 21 in the third game. So it kind of balances out. 20 points a game for Terrace Reed Jr., 8 rebounds against BYU, 2 assists, 2 blocks, and then, 2 blocks, 3 steals against Columbia, 4 blocks, 1 steal against UML, 8 for 10 against BYU. Does that do anything for you, Damon? He's been really good this year for UConn. He's been improved. He's having that year 2 jump within Danny Hurley's system. And I think Matthias Krivas has to get Terrace Reed off the boards in this game. He has to look like the bigger center. He has to play like the bigger center. And to Matthias Krivas' credit, he's stepped up in these games where Arizona's needed him most. He's not looked small against Florida. He's not looked small against UConn. And I think, all right, Bill, Aristode's never getting tossed to the curb. The Krivas take was somewhat satirical. We know Aristode is my guy. But anyway, yeah.
But also, you've also said Karchenkov is more your guy than Aristode. So it's I don't even... Kevin does the thing where everything is his favorite in the moment because it well and truly is. He's not even lying to y'all. He just loves Arizona basketball that much that, if I was to show him, if I put shiny Jaden Bradley in front of him, he'd go, that's my favorite player.
Yeah.
And then you'd go, well, what about Dwayne Aristode? And you go, that's right. That's my favorite player. It doesn't matter who you're talking about. Dude loves Arizona basketball.
I love it, and I also have the attention span of a chipmunk. So I'll say that, and then we'll get on to a different topic, and I'll forget what we're talking about over here, and I'll just say, you know what? This is my new favorite thing. I don't really have object permanence in that way. But Anyway, I will say this. Like I was saying about Krivas, the chat is talking about it. Awaka has to rebound the hell out of the ball in this one. We're talking about the bigs, and if you can get contributions from Krivas, Awaka, and Peat in this one, I have confidence in Arizona's guard play, led by Jaden Bradley, and their wing play, which is insane. ADO, Aristode, Karchenkov. I think Arizona has a chance in this one.
Yeah.
Adding into that, before we hit our break, JR said earlier, you're telling me they have a chance. Under Tommy Lloyd, if you're playing a top 25 team, you have a hell of a chance. Just pound for pound, regardless of which ranking and what team, any individual coach or roster, Arizona is now 23-13 against AP ranked opponents under Tommy Lloyd. That is the 3rd highest win percentage in D1, minimum 3 such games played. 5 of those came against ranked UCLA teams. Lloyd owns that guy. Lloyd owns that mini coach, mini Mick.
And he should have another win. We should be 8-2 against these guys under Tommy Lloyd, which is unreal.
And he also tied Fred Hoiberg with the UCLA win for the 2nd most ranked wins by a head coach in their first 5 career seasons in AP poll history. Tom Izzo had 31. from 95 to 2000. I'm getting that from ESPN's updated, AP rankings, so and such, those stats. But
no big deal. Just all-time legends of the game, top 10 coaches ever, and guys that were so good that they moved up to the National Basketball Association. We won't talk about what happened to Fred Hoiberg in the NBA.
But yeah, I mean, I think that Arizona definitely has a chance in this game. You are led by a coach that is an expert at defeating top 25 teams.
Very true.
You have the roster of a top 5 team in the country, right? Now, so does UConn.
They do.
You know what I mean? But on the Arizona side of things, controlling the controllables, you have the tools that it takes to get this job done. Now, can you out-physical them? Can you out-execute them, right? Can you make them guard you if you're Jaden Bradley for a full 40? Because I know that Malachi Smith, Solo Ball, Silas Demery are tough on the perimeter, but they're not guarding Jaden Bradley every night, right? So let's see what Jaden Bradley can do with Malachi Smith, Silas Demery, and if he gets switched on to Solo Ball or if he's so tough that they got to put Solo Ball on him. That's kind of where I'm at. Also, of note in this one, watch out for Jaden Ross of UConn, who has really stepped up. I believe it's his second year. Let me real quick fact check myself, but I believe he is, second year at UConn, third year at UConn. I apologize. But he's kind of really taken a jump. First year, plays 23 games, does not start, averages less than a point per game. Last year, plays 33, starts 1, averages 2.4 points. This year, he's played in 4 games. He's not really a starter, but he's playing the most amount of minutes. He's scoring the most amount of points he's ever scored at UConn, and by far the best efficiency that he's ever had at UConn. So usually we talk about Arizona being the far deeper team, the Arizona's opponents not really having the depth to go bar for bar with Arizona throughout the game. UConn feels like a team that does have that ability. Do you kind of feel the same way? Do you think that Arizona kind of edges them in the depth category? But what I'm trying to ask you is, are you like me, a little concerned about UConn's depth in this one, even though they're missing Brayden Mullins?
I mean, I do think that Arizona's depth is going to be their strength against essentially every team that they play all season long. Like they have, as we've talked about ad nauseum, Dwayne Aristote as their 8th man, who was a top 50 recruit in the country. Like, that is not normal. That is very atypical of a college basketball team. That type of guy goes to start somewhere. That's almost priority number 1, right? And, Dwayne Aristote is the type of player who obviously felt a connection to the Tommy Lloyd staff and just how their development plan for him would work out. But yeah, I do think that the depth for essentially every Arizona game is going to be a key factor. And also I do like your take about Mo Krivas, just in terms of how his game has elevated against the best teams that we play, essentially all season long, and even a little bit last year, where it just feels like he's more comfortable playing against, size that is more similar to him. So we'll see what that looks like in this one against UConn. But it should be a fun game and a big test for Arizona to show really what type of team that they are. Not that if they get blown out or if they lose even, that means that they're some terrible team that can't make a Final Four or whatnot. I just think that it means that they're not ready yet, right? But if they were to somehow go in and win again, this is the number 1 team in the country, right?
It has to be. I mean, I heard it from Matt Norlander on CBS, but he's not the only person saying this. I think it's pretty simple math to look at it and say the winner of this game has by far the best resume in the country, right? Arizona, if they win this game, would have wins over Florida, ranked number 3 at the time, wins over number 15 ranked UCLA, and then a win over another number 3 ranked team in UConn. No one is doing it like that. A couple teams in the country have a ranked win to their name. Arizona would have 3. And we're not even halfway. We're literally about halfway through the month. It's kind of unbelievable when you think about this murderer's row of coaches and players that Arizona is going up against. UConn is not far off, though, in terms of the scheduling, right? Because you asked, could UConn be the number 1 team in the nation, even if they get this job done? And I think the answer is yes. Right? You have a win against Boston College in an exhibition. You played Michigan State in an exhibition. And then you start your season with, UMass Lowell, Columbia, and then you played BYU in a neutral site, a.k.a. and you weathered the storm, won that game, that would be a top 25 win. You'd beat Arizona, that'd be a top 5 win. And then they play Bryant, a little bit of a come down, but this is where it gets crazy. They got Illinois November 28th. They got KU December 2nd, and Florida in the Jimmy V Classic December 9th. Like, this is another team that is scheduling themselves in a way that indicates to you they have the confidence of a championship caliber team. You don't schedule yourself that way if you don't think you can win those games.
Yeah.
And we know Danny Hurley's smarter than that. If he doesn't believe in his team, he's definitely not playing Illinois, KU, Arizona, and Florida in the first 2 months of the season.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is definitely the winner of this game is the number 1 team in the country, in my opinion.
Can I just say that I'm so glad that we're not longer in the Coach K, Calipari, Roy Williams era of non-conference scheduling, where these teams just scheduled bum team after bum team, Taco Bell University, Tuna Fish U, as Johnny would say, like just every team under the sun that meant nothing, right? And your power teams that you would play against would be like Vanderbilt at home, like you played nobodies. And now it feels like we're finally getting back to the era of college basketball, the Lute Olson style, where you just schedule the best teams in the country. And it's so much more fun for fans, and it's so much better for people like me and Kevin who have to talk about these games, and we don't want to hear, talk about from, Western Kentucky. Like, I'd much rather talk about Arizona playing UConn, even if it's in a loss, because it tells us something about this team. College basketball is in a good spot with the current crop of coaches who are at the top, the Tommy Lloyds, the Danny Hurleys, the why am I forgetting homie from Alabama?
Nate
Oates, like the dudes who are literally scheduling top 10 team after top 10 team because they want to match up their teams with the best of the best to see what they have to work on for March. And it's just great for the game. It really is.
It is. It is really good for the game. And JR has a question in the chat. Is Purdue legit? Have yet to see them play yet. Purdue resume as it stands right now is a blowout over Evansville, a blowout of Oakland, a blowout of Akron, and a win over number 8 Alabama. I would say they're like extremely talented, but I wouldn't say that they're like, I don't watch them and think to myself like that's a champion in waiting. I watch Brayden Smith and I say that is a championship level point guard for sure.
For sure.
But I think there's some, I don't know. It's Purdue, man. It's
this
weird.
Man is also, let me just say, the biggest TKR hater on planet Earth. Like literally, like I'm watching the Purdue Alabama game with Kevin. The guy, I'm not kidding. The guy is 8 for 11 from the field.
Hooping.
And Kevin on the 3 misses is screaming, "That's right, you bum." I thought he was having a bad game until they flashed his stats on the screen. And I realized that the only 3 times that Kevin spoke up were the 3 times that he missed a shot. The entirety of the first 15 to 25 minutes of basketball that was played. It was wild. But that's, you know what I've seen Kevin Thomas's true colors. He hates about 3 things in life. And that's ASU burner accounts on Twitter, Sam Levitt, and TKR. I'm pretty sure that's the end of list.
Yeah, we'll expand the list eventually, but that is about the list right now. I mean, Purdue, they're a really good team. They're going to be relevant the entirety of the year. They have one of the best point guards in the country. Oscar Clough is one of the best bigs on the boards in the country effectively. And I think that they just have too much size, too much skill to kind of go underappreciated, but I don't think that they're going to win the title or anything like that.
Purdue?
Yeah, I don't really.
I just believe in Brayden Smith. That's the thing, is we talk about needing a senior point guard.
Yeah,
Is that the best senior point guard we've seen in years?
Yes, it is. I mean, his pardon me, his ability on the ball, his creativity on the ball, his overall, I would say, understanding of the position as well is incredible. And I think what makes Purdue really competitive is the fact that they have elite guard play, they have some huge, effective big men, and they have shooting.
Correct.
So they're going to be in literally every high-level game that they play this year, unless there's just some team that ends up being a world beater and whatever. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Purdue, are they real? they're really good, but I don't know if they're like a real champion this year. So we'll see.
Here's where I'll say that I am the biggest Big Ten basketball hater on planet Earth. I think that essentially every team from the Big Ten is fraudulent every year. What I will say, though, is that this podcast values senior guard play and upperclassmen guard play in general. Nobody has that better than Purdue, who has not only Brayden Smith, but Fletcher Lawyer as well, who's a really good player. I think that, they're one shot away and one disastrous inbounds away from beating Houston last year in the Elite Eight, from going to the Final Four. Then they brought back every good player on their team, essentially, and then brought in Oscar Clough and added a couple shooters. I think they're better than they were last year. And they were a play or two away from maybe being national champions last year. Houston lost by a shot to the national champions, and Purdue lost by a shot to them. So I think Purdue's legit, personally. The fact that you go into Tuscaloosa and you win there, I think they're championship quality. Now, the concern for Purdue is that they play in such a pathetic conference that their level will get brought down with the rest of the conference because that's what they get used to playing. We are the kings of knowing what that feels like from being in the Pac-12. It ruined our basketball program. No joke. I think that it has become clear as day that is the main issue with why we have struggled, especially in early upsets in March, right? Is because we got so used to playing the Washington States, the Oregon States, the Cals, the Stanfords of the world, that it doesn't prepare you to be playing intense basketball down the stretch. And that's where I would be concerned from a Purdue perspective. But that's why you schedule tough games early like they did. And that's why you move to a Big 12 like Arizona did, because you nullify that issue completely. And that's why I'm so high on Arizona's chances after moving to the Big 12 in the tournament moving forward with Tommy Lloyd. I really am. Regardless of how, the regular season goes and how non-conference goes, I think we're going to be better prepared and battle tested, even as like an 8 seed in a disaster year, to go farther than we would be as like a 2 seed in the Pac-12.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And this is just an honest question. I'm not trying to set you up or set myself up for any one take. Do you think Illinois is better than Purdue?
No.
Like this season?
But I think Illinois is, like, I understand why people are high on Illinois. I just don't trust Kylan Boswell.
But you really don't have to, do you?
He's pretty important to what they're doing this year.
They haven't even been whole yet, though, which I think is a huge reason as to why he's been, like, such a huge percent of their production.
I just don't think that's going to be sustainable, personally. Could be wrong.
They have a big test on Wednesday as well. They got Alabama at home. And then they have UConn November 28th. And they have Tennessee December 6th. Ohio State and that Thornton kid December 9th. They got a little bit of a tough stretch before Big 12 play. Not the toughest, right? But yeah, they do have Stojakovic as well. So
I mean, listen, both those teams are the cream of the crop of the Big Ten. Like, they're going to have good records, they're going to have good seasons, they're going to have high seeds. But I don't necessarily feel like they're like going to be some team that is all of a sudden like going to be winning at the highest level when Illinois has done nothing but show us year after year that like tournament success is not really their thing. Not to throw rocks in a glass house here, but I just don't think Illinois is a team that is necessarily built to win in March. I don't trust Kylan Boswell against Brayden Smith per se, or a Jaden Bradley when it comes down to it.
Oh, sorry.
You said it.
I did say it. So did Sam Alberts in the chat. But yeah, no, Damon. I'll say this much. One more Big Ten comment on all things. What happened to the Dana Altman that I know and love? What happened to that guy? Struggled to beat Hawaii this year. Straight up lost by 8 to Stanford. I believe that might have been an exhibition.
Didn't they get Shellstad?
Yeah, they did.
What's going on?
I don't know. I mean, they're not like losing a bunch of games, but they're not playing anybody. They beat Rice by 4, and they beat Hawaii by 1. And I watched that game and got burned. Hawaii should have won that game. They let Oregon get 5 offensive rebounds in the last 5 possessions. It was unbelievable.
Kwame Evans, Shellstad, Nate Biddle.
Dude, Nate Biddle, by the way. And I know we were talking about this off air earlier, and I'm not trying to take a dig at the guy for this happening to him. I'm just observing. He's got to let it go. Like 7-footer, I get it. No one can see above you. But when you're on TV, all the cameras are above you. And we got to let it go. We got to let it go or go to Turkey.
You got to imagine that the Oregon NIL deal for their best player is fat enough for Istanbul to be a real possibility for Mr. Biddle.
The offseason is long enough. I don't know, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he had all the time in the damn world. He probably graduated already. Like, I think this is his last year.
And it's crazy because he has such strong hair follicles on the sides, front, and
well, that doesn't really change.
It doesn't, but man, the crown is the crown is going away. But anyway, Damon, that is our Big Ten podcast for today.
It is our Big Ten podcast for today. Shellstad is back, by the way, Sam. He only didn't play the Hawaii game. He played the last 2 games. But what did you ask me right now?
Should we do our football power rankings?
Let's do our football power rankings. That was a good basketball preview. Arizona versus UConn, number 3 versus number 4, and it's going to be a huge game for both teams. Whoever wins should be number 1. I think that's been decided. Like, it has been decided. No one else could say otherwise, and it would be an absolute sham if the team that won this game was not the number 1 team in the country after this week. But hopefully it's our Arizona Wildcats, and it's going to take a big effort in Storrs, Connecticut to get it done. Kevin and I are going to be bringing you all the coverage on Wednesday when it comes to Arizona versus UConn. That starts with a pregame show 30 minutes prior to tip, which, of course, Kevin is at.
Isn't it like 7? 6, 7? 6, 7, or 8? It's a later tip, I think.
Basketball Man's supposed to know Basketball Man things. It's at 5 p.m. on Fox Sports.
That's 6 o'clock somewhere.
So Kevin and I will be live at 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday for pregame coverage to prepare you for UConn, Arizona, and give you any last-minute breaking updates. Then we'll be doing a watch-along and just hanging out with you guys for those of you that want to watch along with us and talk some crap in the comments. Hang out with us in terms of maybe a little bit of a magic headband if need be. We'll see if the magic headband continues to be magic on the watch along. Of course, a lot of you guys that are here in the chat right now, we're hanging out with us for that watch along. So we appreciate you guys, and it's gonna be a lot more fun. Keep trying to make these things, just cool for the people, right? Just trying to hang out, nothing different, nothing crazy. But if you just want someone to give you some live commentary while you're watching, Kevin and I are bringing you our reactions live, and then we'll be doing post game right after the game is over. So if you guys want to be a part of that Wednesday coverage, UConn, Arizona, you know where to find us, PHNX Sports here on this YouTube. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back with some Big 12 updated power rankings. Where does Damon have the Cats? Where does Kevin have the Cats? Find out right after this break here on the AZ Wildcats pod.
You might see our power rankings and think that pre-show we partook in some pure edibles, but I promise you that we did not. But maybe after we might, because pure edibles is dare I say, the highest quality gummy you can get your hands on. I partook in some with my beautiful girlfriend this past weekend, and it set the vibe just right for some fight night, baby. You know what I mean? UFC 322 was this past weekend, and I had to partake in some pure edibles to really, really, really immerse myself in the Islam Makhachev wrestle fest that was. But if you're more interested in pure edibles than you are in the UFC, they're designed to be ripped or bit in half. So you can either share it with your friend or significant other, or you can dial in your exact dosage. Because we all know sometimes you take an edible and you don't really know what kind of vibe you're gonna get into, and you're like, oh, is this gonna put me to sleep? Is this gonna uplift me? Am I gonna be giggly? Am I gonna be sleepy? I don't know. Pure edibles, clearly listed on the tin. Whether or not you want sleep support, as well as candies for uplifting effects derived with unique cannabinoids such as CBN, CBG, CBD, and marijuana-derived THC. Pure Gummies, they are a full-fledged candy company offering you gummies, Kicks, which is like a Starburst, Chews, if you're into like caramels, and hard candies if you're eligible for AARP. Go find yourself some pure edibles from one of the over 130 dispensaries that dispense them. And if you're going to a dispo that does not dispense pure edibles, find a better dispensary, because pure edibles, you got to get your hands on some of these.
No doubt about it, Kevin, and no doubt about Circle K's support for this channel and this podcast. has been immense. Circle K, they obviously sponsor here the great Studio K at PHNX Studios, but they also are just America's thirst stop. They're Arizona's thirst stop. If you live in Arizona, you know that there's a Circle K, basically a stone's throw away, as I like to say. It is the staple when it comes to gas stations here in this state and really just in America in general. That's why they're America's thirst stop. And if you're not an Inner Circle Rewards member yet, you're missing out, guys. It's so simple to sign up. You download a free app, you plug in an email, you plug in a password, and you're done. You'll save 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Then you'll save 3 cents off per gallon every time you fill up after that until you reach premium status, and you'll save 5 cents off per gallon like me and like Kevin and like a lot of the crew here at PHNX Sports. Everybody sign up for Circle K, sign up for the Inner Circle free app today because the savings are just so easy to get a part of. And we all know that if you're an Arizona resident, Circle K is right around the corner. So join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply. At participating locations, visit CircleK.com for details. I was just at a Circle K on Saturday. I made a stop there to get into the beer cave with a K before I made a little UFC run at Anthony Totre's place, and then I lost all my money.
That sounds special. What a time that would have been. I do want to bring up one more basketball topic before we get into our football power rankings. There was someone in the chat. I'm losing it now, but they were asking about Houston. They were pretty much saying, has Houston played anybody yet? I've not heard much about what Houston has going on. But Houston's been pretty good so far. They haven't really played too many teams of note. Now, they did just play – it was Edgar Ortiz. It's Houston not playing basketball. They've just played Auburn, beat them by, I believe, 1 point as well. In that one, had Steve Pearl crashing out, had Bruce Pearl. Oh, by the way, Bruce Pearl's been at every game, I feel like, for Auburn so far. And it's like, if you were just going to be at every game anyway, just why didn't you coach? I thought you were like too busy to do this.
I guess it's like the recruiting aspect of coaching is probably the part that is the most time consuming from a coaching standpoint, I would assume. That and the tape eval that you have to do on teams. Those two things are no longer worries in Bruce Pearl's world.
He's just showing up and
I think if you told him he could just show up and coach game days, that he probably would still be the head coach at Auburn, but that's not really a viable option in the world of big time college sports, right? So I mean, I hear you, but I think that it's a little bit deeper than that.
Yeah, it probably is. But he's been literally at every one acting like he is still on the sideline, and that kind of grinds my gears just a little bit. But
it's like Mick Cronin's dad in the crowd.
No, literally. Houston, they have an incredible freshman in Chris Sinak Jr., as we know, top 5 recruit in the country coming into this past year. They also have another freshman guard. His name is Kingston Flemings, and I'll get to know his name because he looks very good so far. So Houston seems to be, yet again, a team to reckon with at the top of the Big 12 Conference. So Arizona, we'll see them later this year on the schedule. But they're definitely playing basketball, and they're definitely playing it at a very high level right now. Speaking of high level, shall we get into our Big 12 power rankings, Damon?
Let's do it, Kevin, because it was a big weekend. It was a big weekend, to say the least. Arizona 7-3 on the year with a legit chance of being 9-3 when it's all said and done. That starts with beating Baylor, who got blown out by Utah this weekend. We've talked about, and I know this was originally a Justin Spears take from earlier this year, but I think Utah is like almost an ideal team to have your opponent play a week prior, because Utah is so physical. They just beat the hell out of you. And, I think that's like, if you're Baylor, you're probably licking your wounds after a game like that, going into another road environment just 1 week later. And actually, I think they were at home against Utah, but going into a road environment just 1 week later, I think this game is set up very well for Arizona. I know Baylor when it's all said and done, their record really isn't all that great. I think they're 5-5 on the season right now.
I think so.
And so they're fighting for a bowl game. They play Houston the last week of the year, which obviously is a tough game. So they're going to want to get this one and get their bowl eligibility out of the way before the last game of the season, so that it's not just do or die time. Baylor was better in the beginning of the year. They're not playing good football right now. And that's why Arizona probably needs to win this game. But I like our chances after how we played against Cincinnati this week.
I mean, Baylor is in big trouble. Like they have 2 ADs right now because Mac Rhodes stepped away for personal reasons. I think to maybe potentially allegedly avoid getting fired. But now they have 2 interim ADs. Two interims.
Yeah.
Which is weird and messy. And also I think the leave of absence is only for 4 weeks. So I think they've given themselves 4 weeks to find an AD when in 3 weeks everyone's going to be looking for coaches and ADs. It doesn't make any sense to me, like what Baylor is doing right now. Also, Dave Aranda, he needed to be gone yesterday at this point, and he's still there. Baylor fans, like the Locked On Baylor's Camp Stewart is saying that he's probably going to be there in January still. So, I mean, Baylor, to me, it's reaching a point where Baylor fans have given up on this year's team.
For sure.
They've given up completely. And I'm not going to say Arizona has to beat Baylor, but I would be kind of disappointed at this point if they don't defeat Baylor.
Yep.
The vibes could not be going in like more opposite directions. Baylor is actively working on giving up on the season. The players have yet to do that. But if the fans are giving up, it feels like only a matter of time before, if you put them behind the 8 ball, that team, the back just breaks and it's over for the season. This is a big opportunity for Arizona. Like, I think that Arizona can get this done. The defense has been really good. This is not the Baylor-Arizona pregame show, but I do think Arizona has a really good chance to get the job done in this matchup, even though Sawyer Robertson's on the other side of the field.
Yeah, the Kelly Ford ratings give Arizona a 66% chance against Baylor this weekend, Kevin. So it's just kind of been slowly making that climb up from the last couple of weeks. And then you look at their next game against Houston at home, and they're given a 61% chance of winning. So maybe they will look to the Houston game and say, you know what, that's our best chance of getting the W because we're at home. It's going to be a crazy environment in Waco. And Houston, to your point, is on this side of the downturn of their season right now. They're not playing their best college football right now. They peaked earlier in the year when they beat Arizona, when they beat ASU, and have played lackluster football since. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I definitely agree with you in terms of I think it's at the point where you need Arizona to get the job done versus this Baylor team, and I like our chances. I really do like our chances. Let's get into the bottom 4 on both of our power rankings. Kevin, I'll let you go first. I would assume it's the same.
Yeah. Oklahoma State, you suck. Colorado, you're bad. UCF, you play football. And West Virginia, shout out to Rich Rod, almost got it done against ASU. Arguably should have got it done against ASU, but could not bring that one home. So you stay put. If you did beat ASU, hell, I might have put you at number 1. Rich Rod, for your contributions to this here Army. Thank you so much. But it was not to be. Those are my bottom 4. Damon, what are yours looking like?
Impressive performance by West Virginia to keep it close versus ASU and have a chance going down the stretch. Had the ball on their own 41-yard line with plenty of time, down 2 points. Really, really could have been a special Saturday if they could have somehow just gotten 2 more first downs and ripped the hearts out of all ASU fans. But is what it is. Now they have Texas Tech on the horizon, so they're probably going to finish 4-8. Not even probably. They're going to finish 4-8 on the season. Bad year for West Virginia, bad year for Rich Rod, but they played better football down the stretch, and that's something you can hang your hat on going into the offseason. Let's take a peek at my bottom 4. It's the same thing as Kevin's.
Wow.
Oklahoma State played a close game versus Kansas State, but they still are horrific. They're 1-9, 0 in the conference. Colorado's terrible. We'll see if they have something for ASU, though, later this week. At home, can Juju Lewis, can he get his premier win of his young college football career, Kevin? Something for Colorado to hang their hat on going into next year? That would be special, wouldn't it? But we got, of course.
Well, real quick, Damon, that would mean that Arizona, if they handle business, would have a better record coming into the Territorial Cup than ASU.
What this is setting up for is just maybe the biggest Territorial Cup game in terms of caliber of team on both sides since the 2014 Territorial Cup. And it's looking like both teams could potentially be 8-3 going into that one. That would be something that we don't see very often in these Territorial Cup streets. But yeah, then I got the same as you, UCF, Colorado. You need to put it back on screen. Okay.
Too late.
But yeah.
Moving into my second tier here, second to last tier here in my power rankings. K-State moving up to 9, just 1 spot, mostly because TCU is so bad right now. I mean, K-State, how do you not win that game by more than a touchdown? That is an unbelievable fumble, especially for those that took the spread, like my sweet co-host Damon.
I'm shocked you moved them up after that.
Because I wanted to move TCU down.
Forgot Kansas State was on the no bet list, low key.
Oh, true.
Would have saved me $20 if I did.
It would have saved you $20. Baylor, fire Dave Aranda and pick an AD and move on. You're number 11. KU at 12, I believe a bye week this past week, did not play, so they stay put. So the bottom 6 teams here on my ranking are staying completely put, and that's what I got for 9 through 12.
Yeah, our teams are the same. Our order is a bit different because I can't, in good consciousness, move Kansas State up after they win a one-possession stinker of a game versus Oklahoma State. Just can't do it for me. So that's why it's Kansas. It's Kansas State who beat Kansas. It's Baylor who beat Kansas State, and then it's TCU who beat Baylor. That's my order of these teams. They stayed in the same spot from last week. I had people, Kevin, now take me off screen. I need to look into the camera for this one. I had ASU fans telling me I was too low on TCU and that they should be higher than Arizona going into last week. How did that play out? ASU fans, when I tweeted out the final 4 games of Arizona's season, and I said, how many wins are you looking at here? You know what they told me overwhelmingly, Kevin?
Ooh.
It's looking like it could be 4.
Yikes.
It's more likely to be 4 than 0.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, we got a lot to prove here still, the remaining portion of the season, but yeah, that was disrespectful to say that TCU belonged above Arizona because they got their absolute doors blown off by BYU this weekend, 44-13.
Damn.
Arizona actually played a really competitive game with BYU, so I think that squashes that, and that's why I have the order there the way that I do. Just nobody moving. Bottom half of the list looks exactly the same as last week.
That's a ball knower.
I mean, my last 2 rankings have been I've moved 1 team each time. You'll see which team I moved on this one.
That's unbelievable.
Spoiler alert. You're going to like it.
Ooh. All right, well, let's get to that very fast. Here are my, I guess, what are we, the 3rd iteration of this week's power rankings. We have Iowa State coming in at number 8 on my list. Cincinnati moving down all the way from 4 to 7. Arizona moves up to 6 as a result, and so does ASU. Damon, Arizona, top 5 team in the Big 12 Conference?
Some people are talking about it, and by some people, I mean me, because let's look at my next. Oh, wow, I can't see Kevin, get your binoculars out. Get your bifocals on. Where are the Cats?
What?
But
did you forget to put them in there, Damon?
But that's the top. That's the bottom 5 through 16. They have to be somewhere in. But whoa! What a jump! Arizona moves from 7 to 4 in my power rankings. And here's listen, I've been, I think, as realistic as anybody all season long with this Arizona team. I haven't been getting out of my skis and going crazy. Yeah, ripped my mentions is right, Max. It's about to get nuts. I haven't been trying to go crazy with thinking how good Arizona or thinking they're above their caliber all season long. But when you look at the teams that I have in front of them, I need to, let's go through this right now. Iowa State obviously beat Arizona. I had Arizona above Iowa State by 1 last week because they're not playing their best football right now. They peaked at the wrong time, speaking of peaking at the wrong time, and they had a bye last week. Arizona has a better record than them as well. Houston and Arizona Houston has a 1 game better record than Arizona, but they're playing terrible football. They're the underdogs versus Baylor in the last game of the season, Kevin. Houston is not playing good football right now. They have a 42% chance against TCU and then a 32.9% chance against Baylor, according to these K Ford ratings. I think, listen, people might be mad about Houston after beating Arizona that they're not above Arizona with the better record, but I tell those people, let's talk in 2 weeks. Let's talk in 2 weeks, and then we'll see who was right about that, because as I have all season long, I've somewhat been projecting what I think these teams are going to do, and I've been right for the most part. specifically with Texas Tech. But going back to this list here, when you look at the other two teams here at the top, Arizona just beat Cincinnati and has the same record as them and is playing better football right now. And then ASU, I think Arizona's playing better football than right now. Both teams are 7-3. You guys scraped West Virginia and easily could have lost that game. And we kind of beat the brakes off Cincinnati in the second half and really should have blown them out by a lot more if you factor in the fact that we had 6 points on 4 red zone trips to start the game. If you score touchdowns on those drives, we're talking about like a 28-point blowout, Kevin. So I think Arizona's playing the best football out of that group of teams right now. And because of that, I got to put them higher in my power rankings. I think if Arizona beats Baylor like they should, they will be the favorite over Arizona State in the Territorial Cup on Black Friday.
Wow. That is special.
And what a world we live in.
It's an incredible world right now to be an Arizona Wildcat. This might be the best timeline. Well, yet to be determined, but the timeline feels really good right now. Damon went ahead and revealed his...
And as Sam says, there's very clearly a top 3. Like, I am not saying Arizona is closer to Utah than they are even Iowa State probably. Like, Arizona is much more in the 4 through 8 rankings or wherever you want to put it than they are in the top 3. No doubt about it. But I do think that out of this group, as currently constituted, with record, with how they played recently, in the spirit of how power rankings work, Arizona should be higher than those teams as of now.
I love it. I love it. And as we wrap this up, I have my full Week 12 power rankings. Top 3 is the top 3. I have Houston at 4, ASU at 5, Arizona at 6. And then the list goes on from there. Damon.
Houston moving up after barely scraping a space game and then having a bye.
You know, you get a win, you get a win.
A win against who?
A team that plays football in your conference.
They were on a bye.
I probably could have put Arizona where you had them. I probably should have put Arizona where you had them.
But here's the thing: you didn't want the smoke on Twitter, and I'm
not worried about the smoke.
I'm putting my war paint on right now, Kevin. When I made those graphics, like that was, I knew what I was doing, but I genuinely do believe it. It's not as if I'm just doing it to troll.
Totally, and honestly, Damon, I think you know the answer to this. I mean, you have Damon knowing ball at a very high level, and then you have basketball guy doing football guy power rankings. This is what a true savant's power rankings look like.
They're very similar, Kevin.
I'm just messing with you. But yeah, no. I mean, honestly, we're splitting hairs, I think, in the Big 12 Conference in a lot of different ways. These teams are all highly competitive. These teams are all, for the most part, in that like 1 through 8 range, are all really well done. So yeah, I mean, all we're doing is giving out knowledge, as Sam Albert says. So thank you guys for the insight at the beginning of the season for that, because he made money this past weekend on the Arizona over 6.5 wins on the season. What a time to be alive for Sam Alberts and the AZ Wildcats podcast.
And I will point out, it was 5.5 for the entire offseason. Like it wasn't until right before the season where momentum started building, where it was like, this team is actually not bad, are they? Yeah. Like more towards like Big 12 Media Day and post that, right? Because before that, I remember it being 5.5 and thinking to myself, man, that's a pretty low total. But yeah, what a time to be alive. What a time to be an Arizona Wildcat. Ranked wins in basketball and football over the weekend, and big games on the horizon. You got it, Senior Day, defend your home turf, defend the Soul Bowl, and let's get a W in our first game in our new stadium, right?
Defend your soul.
And then use that as a momentum builder going into your rivalry matchup where it kind of means everything. And then in basketball, you got the number 3 team in the country on the horizon with a chance to potentially be the number 1 team when it's all said and done after this week. Man, do we have some stuff to talk about, Kevin, on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Of course, you'll find us here on this very same channel weekly, Monday, Tuesday typically, Thursday, Friday. But this week, we are not live tomorrow on a Tuesday. We are off tomorrow in preparation for our Wednesday game versus UConn. So make sure that you guys are up to date with that one. We don't want to see you guys. I mean, you could come to the channel and still support, but we don't want to see you guys thinking that Kevin and I are going to be going live at 2 p.m. and then not being here. So be here for our Wednesday coverage, pregame, watch along, postgame of Arizona versus UConn. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, rest of the week, will be Thursday, 2 p.m., Friday, 2 p.m., Saturday, pregame and postgame for Arizona versus Baylor, of course, of which I will be boots on the ground in the greatest city on earth, Kevin.
Left.
Can't wait.
Left, right, left.
Actually can't wait. Probably the thing is I'm trying to figure out a way in which I can do pregame and postgame show while also acting like a fool in the crowd, because I think we need it. Arizona fans, we need to be rowdy for this one, with how much noise has been around the lack of support for the football team. So I'm figuring that out still, but appreciate everybody for figuring it out and being here in this great chat and this great YouTube channel. We appreciate you guys being part of this great family. Great way of putting it, Kevin. Love you guys. Means the world to me and Kevin that you guys would show up and kick it with us every single day on this podcast, hang out, talk ball. Nothing like it in the entire world. Nothing like talking Arizona Wildcats athletics. You can follow my guy, Kevin Thomas, at Kevo Posts. You can follow me at Damon Dog. And you can follow us at PHNX_Wildcats. Except for TikTok, we're at the AZ Wildcats Pod. Like I said, appreciate everybody for being here. Kevin, anything else before we get out?
Nah. I'm pumped for Wednesday. Pumped for Saturday. Pumped for the Territorial Cup. Becky Burke, undefeated, never lost a non-exhibition game. I'm all about it, Damon. It's a great time to be in Wildcat land right now. Wildcat country. Stand up.
Let's ride. Nothing like it. Shout out Becky Burke as well. You're right, for remaining undefeated on the women's basketball season, especially after losing that exhibition game. I think this has been a great start to the year for our women's basketball team.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to have Erica Day here on the podcast very soon. She was supposed to be on the podcast last week, but ran into some car troubles that bled into the time that she would have been on the pod. So it was just not meant to be. But this week, I will try my best. Damon will also try his best to get Erica on the pod, because the text I'm getting from Erica Day about this basketball team, let me tell you, I'm not going to reveal it on air, but she's damn happy with what she's been seeing. She's geeked. She's geeked up. But yeah, I'm all about it.
Absolutely love it. Appreciate everybody for being here in this chat. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and rate and review on your favorite podcasting platform. We'll be back on a Wednesday for pregame coverage at 4:30 versus UConn. So be here for that. And in the meantime, appreciate everybody. Peace out. Bear down.
And go Cats. Bring me the Bruins, and then the Huskies, and then honestly the Big 12 Conference, because Tommy Lloyd's coming for it all.
We all silly like the mayor.